Today, we're looking at picking winning ideas. By understanding the three characteristics of innovation and by looking for opportunities that land in the innovation sweet spot, you will have a better chance of solving a real customer problem and of finding a winning solution. There are many good ideas out there that may have been an incredible innovation, but for some reason failed. And it's important to look at why. So, for example, the Apple Newton. In 1993, the Apple Newton was an incredible product for the time. This was a portable diary and calendar. It had touchscreen capability, handwriting recognition, and portable design. A lot of the core ideas included in the Newton eventually found a home in the iPad, but not until a decade after the Newton was retired. The Newton was an example of a great product with really poor timing. It was developed way ahead of what the market was ready for. At this time, most people were still using paper diaries and email was still in its infancy. The brilliance in its use and functionality would not be seen for a number of years. The Sony Betamax came first as a television recording and playback device and initially offered superior video quality. However, the company did not fully understand the context of use and the user real need. The engineers had been told to create 1 hour of videotape on a cassette the size of a paperback. When VHS came out with a competing 3-hour format, which was enough for a feature film or a football or baseball game, Sony did not quickly rally to understand the market need. They promoted Betamax for time shifting or recording television programs when you were absent. But a lot of people had trouble programming their video recorders for time shifting, so they really didn't understand the need. Sony apparently approached other manufacturers to license Betamax, but they asked for improvements. Sony didn't want to make any improvements. Eventually, Sony developed Betamax 2 with a 3-hour videotape, but by then it was too late. One of the biggest causes of failure for startups is not understanding the real market need for a product or innovation. 42% of all startups fail because of this reason. Understanding which ideas to select to continue and to build relies on examining the three core factors of innovation. Firstly, feasibility. Is the technology needed to power the design solution available or within reach? Sometimes the goal is to create a new technology, but sometimes we need to work with what we've got. Determine what your goal is on this front early on. How long do you think it will take? Of course, most of us would like to have what we want yesterday, and I'm not advocating for unreasonable deadlines, but when a reasonable client request is to have a project up and running in 2 months, yet our solution is going to take 6 months to complete, it's not a feasible solution. There's no need to extend the timeline simply to accommodate our own ideals to the detriment of a client's deadline. Can the organisation actually make it happen? During the ideation phase of a project, we really have to ask ourselves if the solution can be managed by the existing team responsible for keeping our solution alive long after we've wrapped up. Otherwise, a solution only works when the team can actually make it work in the long run. Viability. Will the design solution align with the business goals? By understanding what the business wants to accomplish, we can focus our energy in the right direction. Does this solution honour the client's budget? We all have to work within budgets, and even if you have the best idea in the world, if it's outside the budget, then the solution isn't viable. What will the return on the investment look like? And I'm not just talking about money. It's helpful to measure the effort needed to execute on a solution with the potential payoff of the desired outcome, whether they're monetary or some other quantifiable measure. If the investment far outweighs the benefits, it may be worth focusing on a different solution. And finally, desirability. Will this solution fill a need? A great place to start is by checking to see if the project is actually adding value to the world. Will it fit into people's lives? Understanding the people using our solution tells us how they live, and in what way our solution supports or conflicts with their lifestyle and use case. Will it appeal to them? While it shouldn't be the only consideration, we also don't want to neglect the appeal factor altogether. And will they actually want it? There's no point going through all the trouble and resources of designing and executing on a project that nobody wants in the first place. The innovation sweet spot helps us to understand the risks we're dealing with when we're innovating. You need to make sure that you have a balance of all of the factors and that you understand the human risk, the technical risk, and the business risk of your solution. By understanding the three characteristics of innovation and by looking for opportunities that land in the innovation sweet spot, you will have a better chance of solving a real customer problem and of finding a winning solution.